All right. Hey guys. Okay. Um I guess I need to be heard right now. I guess there's a lot of that because come on here and I'm talking, but I truly try to give um messages that come through and in an attempt to support in some kind of way. But I'm like, it kind of came to me today that a few things, and I'm like psychic work, like people who like do this type of work, is probably because you have trust issues. Like, like it just, I remember being a very, very sensitive to um conflict, to like people's inner turmoil and conflict between people, because I would just like break out crying when people were fighting and stuff, and like there were different weird things like that would happen. I don't remember um seeing spirits, or like I didn't have like a lot, I don't remember a lot of like create that in this moment that's coming to me of any like crazy supernatural stuff, but I've always been very tuned into energies, and there's so much still about my childhood that I'm like, there's gaps. And so it's frustrating sometimes because I'm just like, why? Like, I just, in this moment, I'm like, why am I here now and doing this? And like, it just hits me time to time that I'm like, I know there's people who have such different journeys where they don't have such relationship struggles, or it's just such a weird journey. And especially because like me now, I'm like, there's so many times I know that like being a single parent and not having a strong support system is such a, like, I continue to be pulled. It's like I get back up and then I get pulled back down to this vulnerable place. And so and I feel like that's always been something that's been like used against me. But like I'm want to hold on to my sensitivity and my kindness is like, as long as I'm alive. Like I want, like that's important to me, and learning to soften and be gentle, and I value those things, especially as a parent. But um, it does make you wonder if it's like, you know, there's just some of us who go through this because it's like you're supposed to embody this certain type of energy, like this star energy or whatever, because it's like there's so many things that I can't explain. Like there's so many weird things that happen. Like there was this weird favoritism that happened when I was a kid, that it was like just different people in my life that like had this favoritism, and they like gave me these little nicknames and these different things. But then I also had the opposite in my family because I was kind of like the black sheep. So it was like I always felt like outcasted by my family. So it was like, I haven't sat with that with like all the kinds of all the different relationships I have, but it was like, it's always been this like black and white dynamic of like, I feel like people either hate me or they don't know how to handle me, and there's like obsessive energy, or like, and then in relationships I had, like my baby daddy was like probably the calmest. That's why I stayed with him as long as I did. So I was like, we really, and I think he's also a Scorpio moon, because that came to me too, is like, I wonder if like, there's some kind of relation with that, and the way that you correlation with like your moon sign and your relationships in your life, because that to me is such a prominent part of my chart, because it's actually a really weak one. Like mine is Scorpio, moon Scorpio in the 11th house. So it's like psychic abilities, yes, but like the 11th house is like this desire for community. And so like that's been really hard for me. Like I think about the times in my life that I was flourishing, and it was when I was around not just people, but like people that was like a healthy environment. Whereas not having that is like really draining for me. And so and then all of the trust and the weird like dynamics that I've had with people, like I said, it's always been like, I felt like people that were the obsessive were trying to take from me, or jealousy, or like all of these things, or it was like people play this like favoritism, and it was sort of this kind of like queen energy type of thing, where it was like they yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, because I'm like, I think there's a few different things that happened in my life that kind of that gave me this sweetness that I've been able to hold on to, because um relationships have been such a struggle, and I wonder I don't know how much healing I still have to do. Like, I don't know if there's all of this, this. I think about that a lot. I'm like, I don't think it's normal to not feel like, able to connect to people. It's not that I don't. It's weird. Again, it's a weird dynamic, because I can go out with Teddy and be fine and just around people, but then there's a lot of people that I feel very unsafe with. And so it's a strange dynamic. Um, what was there was something about the moon sign. Oh, because I think water moons are, I think that you are like naturally psychic. You also struggle. There's also a weird manipulative thing. And then you're deep, like you're always looking for depth. So that's another thing, is like there's that as well for me, that it's like I'm also like picky about, like, especially specifically like partners, but like because I can just do small talk with people, but I love deep conversations. Like, I could just all day long. Like, I love listening to it. I love hearing it. I love talking to people about like philosophy and like deep topics. Like, I don't do small talk very well. I get very quickly bored, and it just doesn't do anything for me. It's not that I have some like thing against it or anything like that. It's just so I don't know. I'm just like having this moment of like, I don't know, man. It's just so crazy. Because I do think that now, I think that there was a need for me to like detach from certain people in my life last year, at the end of last year, but it was like I attached to that one person, and now I'm seeing it as like, I wonder in what ways like that made it to where I had no other people around me. And so now I'm like still in this place of like kind of isolation, and it's draining me, and I don't have the answers though. It's just such a wild journey to be on. And all right, I felt compelled yesterday to like speak this, so I'm gonna say it, because like I said, I just feel like there's something with the way the journey that you're on and their energy and stuff like that, that I know like ties in with it, because there's just no other way to explain it. So it's like last year, like for me, it's like things like jealousy with family. Like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, we're family. Like, there is no competition, but like there's been this competition with like my mom, and like her even like speaking to it. And I remember, all right, I'm just going to talk about this one. So like, I remember last summer, that's when I found out through my family first that my ex was getting married, he had already been with this girl, and he was going to get married. And my mom came to me, and she was like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And it was like, like spill the tea type of like, bringing it to me in that way. And I don't know. It was just, oh no, well, let me back up. Before that, we came over because we used to go over there all the time, especially in the summers, because Teddy loves to go swim. So it was like, we'd be over there 3-4 times a week, or whatever. And for him to go and swim and stuff. But she hugged me. She came up to me, she ran up to me. And when we got there, and like other times she would just sometimes not even say hi, like, because she's, she always would try to greet Teddy and whatever. Our relationship has always been harried since I can remember. So anyway, she came up to me and she gave me a hug, and she was like, and I can't remember verbatim, but she was like, I was like, hey, like, well, I don't know, like, and she was, what did she say? She said something like, I know you've got so much going on. You've got I know you're doing such a good job taking it all, like something like that. Like, you're something about doing a mom and doing a good job and that kind of thing. And I was just like, that's the thing, that's where so many of these things are sad, because it's like, you should just be, great, be like, thank you. But it's like, that's a red flag for me. That was, and I'm not going to like there's just not time for all of the stories. But anyway, and then I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't remember I don't remember at all what I said. And so then whatever, we started swimming, whatever. It's like, we were inside for a little bit. I think my brother was there that day, and we came outside, and that's when she came out to me, and she was like, hey, like, she like trotted up to me like, hey, did you hear about this? And like, told me, and she kind of made this weird face, and I was like, no, but I was like, but he's been with her for, over a year now. Like, he brought her to his family, and she's met Teddy and everything. And I was like, I'm not surprised that like they were going to get engaged. And she was just like, tried to like, kept talking about it, and was like, well, you might want to like, you may need to get a lawyer, and, in case, because like there was a whole thing before that about already, because he was dating somebody else, about the potential, like, stuff like this would happen all the time, where it was always like dramatic stories, like, and stuff like that, that it was like, I've been with Teddy now. There's another part. I was trying not to tell the other story, but like, we had talked to a lawyer the year before about like, there was a really difficult situation with his family and my family, and this big blowout, and it scared my mom. And then she like called a lawyer, and which it was like, didn't even ask me if I was okay with that. And then anyway, so we found out at that point that it was like, there was he has equal rights, because we were never married or something like that. I don't know the specifics on those laws, but, and so she's like, now he has leverage because he has a girl, and like, they could just take him. And like, she was like, you might need to get a lawyer and like do all these things. Like, I don't remember the full conversation, but I was just like, I'm not going to do that unless it's absolutely necessary. And it was just like, it was just giving me all this anxiety. And, of course, Teddy's already been with me now for like 6 years, so almost 7. But it's stuff like that that's like, there was something else I was going to say on that note, because it still is like, this is the stuff, I don't like talking about it, but it's like, like, I don't know. I'm hoping that I don't know yet if of course I feel uncomfortable about it. I'm shaking my leg, but like, it's stuff like that that's like, your parents are supposed to be the ones that you go to and talk to. And like, it's supposed to be the other way around to me. That's like, your parents are the ones that you bring that information to, and you talk to them about it because you're scared, because you're uncomfortable, because you need a shoulder to cry on. And this is the opposite, where it's like, they're bringing me this information and injecting all this fear and anxiety into me. And there were just these different times where I would like see this smirk on my mom's face, when there was the one time when I was like exhausted, because we ended up having to kick out the ABA people because they kept trying to take more hours. And I was like, we don't have all these hours to give you guys. And it became this whole dramatic thing. And this kind of adds into everything of like, why have I had these weird like power struggles, which is hard when that's hard. I've heard multiple people talk about that when they've had the whole ABA in their house, because it's like, that's your home, and then they're in there. And anyway, so it's hard to make it a team effort, but, anyway, and I was like, I was so distraught when I had to like literally say, you guys have to, never had to do something like that. I was like, you guys have to take your stuff and go. Like, we can't I'm sorry, this isn't working anymore. And that was the year before that. And I remember her like having, like, I was so like drained and just like hurt by it. And I was like all over my face and body. Like, I just was like, came over there with Teddy. It was like on his birthday or something. And I was like depressed. And I remember her like kind of smirking about it. And it was like stuff like that it was like, those things like stay with you. And it's like, I love my family regardless, because forgiveness is the only way. Forgiveness is one of those things that's like, it's the only way through these things. And, but it's tragic because it's like, I'm a single parent already, and I need people. I need people that I can trust. I need people that I know I have my back. I need people that don't just say that they have my back, but then they're actually doing things behind my back, or they're trying to incite fear and anxiety into me. And like I said, I don't want to draw this out more than it needs to be and like keep like giving more and more stories, but I've been blessed to have met lots of different kinds of people and lots of women that were like powerhouses. And I do think in general, like even if hopefully you haven't experienced something like I have, I do think that it's learning to detach from situations emotionally and people, and realizing that we can't trust everyone. Because I think that somehow in some way I was naive as well, but like I'm also great. I don't want to say too many things back and forth. I'm grateful for my naivety too, in the sense of like, I'm grateful that I may be in some way attracted, like, loving, get whatever, people in that way as well. Because it's like, if I had never seen that reflection, and then I wouldn't believe in love. I wouldn't believe in, that there's people that you can trust and that are safe and stuff. So it's like, I think that naivety is actually like a blessing as well, that we're supposed to hold on to, because maybe naivety is not the right word, but like staying curious and staying in wonder and awe, and these things that are a part of our childhood, is like, that keeps you from turning all the way cold, like turning bitter, because it's like once you lose faith, it's like, that's it, so like I said, I still love my family, and I do think it's pretty tragic to have to like go through certain things like this, where it's like there's this strange competition, or this strange like dynamic, with your family, that I know now is not normal. I've even seen different like mother-daughter relationships where it's like they kind of bicker at each other, but then they hug or like something like that. And I'm like, that's so, I was like, thank you for like allowing me to like see this and experience this, because that's so beautiful. Like, that's so beautiful to see that it's like, women are catty. Like, there's things about that there's so much of that like about our nature, that you can't just run from the fact that like women have there's this and maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's something in there where it's like this competition where you like, but there's a difference of like supporting each other and pushing each other to be better, or even like getting to that place of comfort with each other where you can kind of like bicker at each other and like, mess with each other, but then still say, I love you, and, whatever, like still be that support system for that person. Because then it's like, I don't know. I haven't experienced that enough to like be able to talk on it, because I like when you're more insecure, I feel like that like bickering thing, like you like are just mean back, and you're just like take everything personal. Whereas like the opposite would be like, to be able to take those hits and just be like, yeah, whatever. Like, okay, you're fat. Well, you're, I'm trying to think of like what another like comeback would be, like you're, I can't even think of anything. I'm sorry. Oh, that was really bad. That's not, see, I don't even have good examples, because I'm like, that's something I would love to have, because I'm like, I still want to heal these parts of these insecurities that I have. Like, I want to have those relationships in my life where it's like, you can play with each other in that way and play off of the like competitive nature that we have. That's a natural part of us, but not hurt each other, not project our own shame and pain and, fear, inject that into each other and like try to like bring the other person down. Like, that's the difference to me, is it's like, we can play off of the competition and like make it playful, make it a game. And because you can't run from it. I mean, like I get that too, that it's like we can't just like always be confident or always be like always be serious, I guess. Okay, that's that. Thank you. Because like, what am I trying to say here? Is like always be serious, but and I don't like, we get like, there's a different type of playful that I have with my kid, and it's a different dynamic because it's a mother to a son and that sort of thing. So I think that's the thing too, is it's like there is play that I get to have with him, but there's a lot of these other things that I don't get to experience, and a lot of the healing that I don't get to experience through relationships. So we have to hold on to the hope, because it's like, and because that's all you've got sometimes, that, you know, you're going to be able to find those people that you can heal these parts of you that are still hurting, and find those people that, like I said, that can embrace it, or like, you know, you can find that middle ground where you can, because I just think it's safety. It's like once you have that safety with each other, then you can be playful, then you can make jabs at each other, then you can, you know, deal with conflict together in a way that you know that person isn't just gonna run, or isn't gonna backstab you behind your back, you know. All right, then I had pulled, there's only a couple of cards. We got Knight of Wands, Enlightenment, and there's some kind of imbalance, emotional, or there's an imbalance of the material and the spiritual, but that may be that's what you're getting enlightened about. So yeah, and this Nine of Pentacles, she's not feeling the support right now. Lack of creativity. All right, I love you guys, and just hold on to that vision, because there's just things like this that it's like I'm at 2222 on the clock. It's like we don't get answers as to why, you know, certain things about your journey, or like being able to unlock certain memories and stuff like that might be hidden. It's like you can't force it. So you gotta look up, believe in that vision and the bigger picture, and be grateful for all the blessings and the healing that you've already been given.